My name is Mike Pfeiffer. I started with one of the legacy organizations called Boca International, February 1st of 1986. So I've been here 36 plus years. Currently, I'm the Senior Vice President of Technical Services for about the next 20-something days or so, and then it's going to be Russ Manning is going to take over the helm. And my job in technical services is primarily code development, standards development, as well as technical services, which is predominantly providing interpretation services to the membership. Well, again, since I started in the 90s, I was familiar with one of the legacy codes. Back in that day, there were three legacy codes. One was called BOCA, one was called the ICBO, International Conference of Building Officials, and one was called Southern Building Code Congress International. So one of the biggest changes was obviously going from the three code groups to a single code group, in that it was the ICC. And during that process, some of the biggest changes, the process always evolves. It's something that we pride ourselves in terms of ICC, of always looking to build a better mousetrap. So we took the legacy groups, took the best out of those processes, started in 2000, the development of the building code and the update of the building code. CDP access was a big change that was incorporated in about 2014. The biggest thing there was the ability to do cloud-based online submittals. And at the same time, it allowed those people, the eligible voting members, the membership of ICC, who couldn't attend the public comment hearing, to actually vote on the proposals. So they had a voice in the process, which was really good. And then, the ICC in the last probably 6 or 7 years has really evolved. The term that is coined is the Code Council family of solutions. We are much more than just a code developer. I mean, that's what we used to be. That's what I did in the legacy days. Now we've got, we've acquired numerous companies. Of note is General Code and NTA, SK Ghost and Associates. So we are not just a code developer anymore. We're there to provide any type of solutions as it relates to the built environment. So it's been quite an evolution. And that's probably happened, I'm going to say, somewhere about in the last 10 years with the acquisitions. Well, I've got a couple. The most recent was what happened to me in Louisville at the public comment hearings in the fall, when I was awarded the Bobby J. Fowler Award. And the biggest surprise there was the fact that they organized my family to be there and surprise me. So I got a little teary-eyed, and it was quite special to me. And then that's at one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is going from the three groups to the one group in the development of the building code, the International Building Code. I was never really exposed to the other staffs, who are now currently, some of them are still with ICC. So meeting the new people, meeting the new members, the members that used to be dealing with either the standard building code or the uniform building code. So working with those people was, I consider it a milestone, because it was a significant change. And the reality is, I enjoy the hearings. So one of my favorite memories will always be in the spring and in the fall, going to the hearings and working with the committees and working with the members and working with the staff and the volunteers. That's a favorite of mine, is the hearings themselves. It's a cliche, but the reality is, I'm going to miss the staff. I'm going to miss the members and the volunteers. I mean, that's what it's all about. We're here to facilitate the process, to make it happen. Without the members and without the volunteers, I mean, I can honestly say that in 36 years and being exposed to these folks either on the phone, emails, or at the hearings themselves, I've made a lot of lifelong friends that I think will be lasting friendships. So it's special in terms of missing, that kind of that atmosphere and that camaraderie. I don't know if I consider it my accomplishment. I would call it the team's accomplishment. Again, it's the evolution of the process from the legacy codes to the single, the increase in work on standards. We are now a little more focused on developing standards in addition to the 15 international codes. But even with the accomplishments of a new process, there are fundamental tenets that we've always maintained, and that is the ability for anybody to participate in the process, fairness, due process. Everybody got their proverbial day in court when they want to propose a change to the code, or they want to either create a new standard or update a standard. Transparency. And again, this was a joint effort, but it really was a big deal back in 2014 with CDP access and the ability for online voting. That was a big ticket item, a real big ticket item, and for those who could not participate because of either resources in terms of time or finances to actually get it to the public comment hearings. I was afraid you were going to ask that question. That's a bit of a loaded question. I have made an awful lot of friends who are currently moderators that I'll be seeing in the next couple of days, as a matter of fact. And talking a minute ago about lifelong friends, these moderators are going to be lifelong friends. I can see us interacting with them in retirement, as most of them have preceded me in retirement. Even some of the younger fellas who actually were retired a lot earlier than I am. I'm going to go with a crowd favorite, and that's John Terry. John Terry, he knows the process. He knows the process as good as anybody, and he's just got a special rapport. I mean, the participants know when John's moderating, it's all business. And for the most part, all the moderators like that. But John is kind of a mainstay in terms of the process. So again, favorite is kind of you got to put the quotes around it, because without the moderators, the whole stable of moderators, the process would not be where the process is. The process owes a lot to them keeping decorum and making sure the hearings are maintained in a professional environment. That's a big deal, and they do it. That's back to back loaded questions. First, who's my favorite moderator? Now, who do I want to see testifying? Let's put it this way: there's never a dull moment when it comes to the hearings. Sometimes we get surprised positively, like, wow, that person's got some very insightful comments. Sometimes, depending upon the nature of the issue, it may get a little bit of argumentative. So you know what? I think in the interest of maintaining balance, I'm going to plead the fifth on this one and not identify who my favorite was, because again, it crosses the gamut. 99% of the time, it's extremely productive discussion. Every once in a while, we get into that area where, again, speaking of the moderators, they got to weigh in and basically, in effect, tell somebody to knock it off. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, the moderators there, the moderators are the policemen of the hearings. My own evolution, I think, was probably something that was pretty significant. I started my career as a structural engineer in Kansas City, and the whole reason we came back to the Chicago area was because we were having children at the time, and we said, let's move back to Chicago to be near the grandparents, who ironically then promptly moved either to Galena, Illinois, or to Knoxville, Tennessee. So we moved here and they left. I don't know if that's cause and effect, but maybe it's not. But going from doing structural engineering work to this kind of work, it's totally different. Started off managing the plan review department and the interpretation process. At the same time, I got exposed to code development. I really, really enjoyed code development. There was an opportunity at Boca where I was able to take on the vice president position at Boca, and then worked at VP at ICC. had the ability to work under the direction of Tom Frost, who was a great boss. And then ultimately, in about 2016, I took over for Tom when he retired and became the SVP. So those are kind of the chronology of the milestones. But when it's again, I really got to reinforce it. The accolades are nice, but it's really not about me. It's about ICC, the family of solutions, and the volunteers and the people. First and foremost, we got a great staff on the codes and standard sides. It's directed by both Ed Wercherick and Carl Eitnemy in terms of who runs the show. I mean, they take care of the day-to-day operations. Every staff person is unique, and I think that's not unique to the code business. I mean, when you're dealing with people, they're all unique. What may be unique about the code business is the process. Not everybody has that exposure. You can go to school to become an engineer or an architect, but you're not trained in this kind of stuff, the kind of stuff that we do. You could be coming from the trades and work then as a code official, by way of example, but you're still not trained in the little idiosyncrasies of the process. So you know what? When it's all said and done, the lessons I've learned is everybody's unique, and the only way you're going to learn this work is really on-the-job training. And staff really does a great job in that regard. You know, again, some have some strengths that others may not. Sometimes they require a little bit of coaching, but when it's all said and done, it really is a team effort, and we got a great codes and standard technical services staff. This is something that I've worn on my sleeve since day one. And when it comes to the up and coming building safety professionals, or anybody for that matter, you got to get involved in the process. And you got to do it sooner rather than later. When it's all said and done, the codes aren't mine. I mean, I benefit from the codes as a staff person, and so does the public, so do the two of you, because you're developing codes to, generate safer buildings. But when you get to the people that actually use the codes, in terms of as an engineer, as an architect, as a code official, they become your codes. So if they're your codes and you want to have a say-so in what the code says, you got to get involved in the process. That's something that I always tell folks, and I always use the analogy or the scenario. We need less people that look like me. We need some young blood. We need the 30 and the 40 somethings, not the plus 60 somethings. So looking for some new blood, definitely. You know what? I made mention earlier about the fact that we're no longer just a code group, and we clearly are not. So I think what excites me is the fact that the foundation has really been, to coin an engineering/code term, the foundation has been set. And I think that there's nothing but blue skies in terms of what the future of the Code Council is. I mean, we continue to evolve. I mean, again, those acquisitions, and we're still looking at additional acquisitions to basically enhance the services that we can provide. And I anticipate that to continue on well past my tenure. Well, I'm going to hearken from the past, and I'm going to go to the current. The first individual was my first CEO at Boca, a gentleman by the name of Paul Heilstedt. Ironically, also a civil engineer from the University of Illinois. But again, he was he's the one that gave me the position, or awarded me the position of vice president in charge of codes back at Boca. I learned a lot from Paul, and I've got to give a shout out at the same time to the current CEO, and that's Dominic Sims. I mean, Dominic is the kind of boss that you want to have. He lets you do your job. He'll let you know if he disagrees with you, but he gives you the freedom to do what you think is right. I think so far the track record's been pretty good. But so again, I got to go with both Paul when I just started and currently Dom. clearly grandkids. We currently have 4 grandchildren. My daughter, who got married last May, is due Mother's Day of this year. My daughter-in-law is also due, so in September. I'm sorry. So by the end of this year, we should be up to about 6 grandkids. So I think that's going to keep us busy. Annette and I want to do some traveling, both nationally as well as internationally. We enjoy bike riding, hiking. I enjoy golf. I don't anticipate her playing golf, just like I don't anticipate me doing any scrapbooking. She enjoys her scrapbooking and doing things of that nature. I enjoy golf. And what we want to do collective together is we want to start playing pickleball. I've just been exposed to it recently. I used to play tennis when I was a kid. I enjoyed tennis. The body doesn't move as fast as it used to on a tennis court, so pickleball may be a good substitute for tennis. So we're going to give that a shot. I really enjoy golf. I used to play quite a bit. I was up playing about 30 rounds. About the last 6 or 7 years, I'm playing about 10 rounds per year. So not as much. My handicap is clearly my putting. That's actually supposed to be a joke, but it went a little flat. But I'm probably about a 12. In terms of bucket courses, I have none. I've got some sons that are very good golfers. I mean, single-digit handicaps, and they like to go out and play the nice, expensive courses. I just like to play golf, so I really don't have a bucket list of courses. As long as I'm out playing golf and it's nice, maybe having a beer in the golf cart, life is good.